My name is Bob Babbitt, and welcome to Babbittville Classic Rewind, a collection of my favorite interviews with some of the legends of endurance sports that have aired over the past 3 decades. I'm hoping you will enjoy these interviews as much as I do. As always, endurance lives here.
Huddle,
Babbitt.
Last year when we were doing Ironman Live,
Yes, sir.
Off the front on the bike for it seems like forever.
Our favorite German.
Yes, is leading the way.
Yeah.
Faris al-Sultan finished 7th last year in Kona, and quite frankly, going into the race, I didn't know very much about Faris.
You didn't.
I did not.
I mean, I didn't know a lot about him, but I did know that he likes to lead races because I had seen him off the front out of the water and onto the bike at a lot of races in 2000. Youngster.
Yes.
Who, you always didn't quite take him seriously because you always saw him fade into the back of the race.
Right.
And then last year we saw him in Hawaii, and it was like, whoa, this guy is finally starting to figure this out. He's obviously getting a little older.
Right.
25 at that point.
Yeah.
Now he's 26. And what did he do in Roth this year?
Well, Roth, Faris went 7, 58, 57. I think there's only a handful of people who've ever gone under 8 hours on a distance race.
Yeah. I know you haven't.
And I've gone under 8, but usually
for
I
a half Ironman.
Usually I haven't even started the run yet.
Yeah, that's right.
But more importantly, he led till 30K of the run before Chris McCormick went by, and that was on the 4th of July. And I love Chris McCormick's line. He says, hey, Faris reminds me of me. He's aggressive and hungry and very talented. He's the best athlete to come out of Germany since Thomas Hellriegel in 1995. Wow. And with that for our lead-in, Faris al-Sultan, how are you doing?
I'm fine.
Wonderful. Well, welcome to San Diego.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Now, Faris, take us through your race in Kona last year. Obviously, you weren't thinking about sitting back. You went off the front fairly early and were very aggressive on the bike.
Yeah, I was. I wanted to take the lead, and at least once you want to lead the biggest race in the world, and I took my chance. And, it's great to follow a lead car, but in Hawaii you have the opportunity to follow a lead helicopter. this was even better.
Yeah.
And, so I just had a good day, and until Harvey I could lead. And then Norman passed me by, and, then a couple of miles later the group came up with Hellriegel and all the others. And, I sticked with them, and in the run I was running with Thomas in the beginning until mile 11, and then I said, okay, I have to do something to get a better place, and I started running hard, and in the end it was the 7th place.
Faris, at the ripe old age of 26 years old, you're taking 7th place at the Hawaii Ironman. How many Ironman races have you done to this point, and are you going to continue with this strategy? Because it seems like it's something that has gotten you where you are now. You seem very aggressive and unafraid to take the lead and go after it, and then if you blow up, you blow up. But it seems like you're getting a little better each year.
Of course, there's improvement. There has to be improvement, and I don't like to follow tactics or something like this. I just go out, and when the signal comes, I start, and I don't think too much in the race. If I blow up, then I blow up. Then it was a bad day. But, with the years, you become more and more stable, and, I hope to push it through.
Huddle, I was talking to Faris a little earlier, and what I didn't realize, the Ironman has a age limit of 18. But in Germany, you have to be 21 to do Ironman
21?
Germany. Yeah, 21.
But in Germany, you can drink when you're 12 or something. But you can't do an Ironman until you're 21?
No. So at 19 years old in 1997, because Faris' first try was in 1996 and 97, Faris went over to Lanzarote, and that was his first Ironman. Now, Faris, when you did Lanzarote, when you finished that race, did you feel like, okay, I have found my distance? This is the type of racing I really like.
Or in Lanzarote, did you go, I'll never do this again?
Yeah, that is such a hard race.
Yeah, it's a pretty hard race, but for me it was more like becoming an Ironman. I didn't thought so much about how it's going on or what comes next. I was just so happy that I'm an Ironman now after that race, and that this was all that came to my mind in that moment. And next year I came back to Lanzarote, and I wanted to be better, and I was better, and so slow by slow, it became more and more training, more and more races, and I got into it.
Now, Faris, have you won an Ironman race yet?
No, I haven't won an official Ironman race so far. I won an also long distance, so Ironman distance competition, but not an official Ironman in Germany in the year 2000, which was my first real good race. I had an 8:22, which is a good time.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
At the age of 22, it's okay.
Now, what was your marathon in Roth? How fast did you run there?
2:45.
You ran 2:45 and lost. That's pretty impressive.
That's amazing.
Yeah, when you run 2:45, imagine, Huddle, if someone said to you, hey, you're going to run 2:45 marathon, you're going to go 7:58:57. You're going, well, what's first place prize money?
You're going, I'm going to retire after that
Absolutely.
race.
So when you do that, when you have such a great race and take second, I mean, you've got to be excited about being under 8 hours. And I know how the Germans are. It's great to finish second, but it's also really great to be the first German.
Yeah, it was much more important for me to become German champion.
Right.
Than to be under 8 hours, because next year the conditions are better or worse, and then you cannot go under 8 hours, or you are faster or whatever. But this was for me. This was very important to be the first German, and I was so happy when I realized that Chris might catch me, but Timo Bracht and all the other Germans and the other guys, they were far, far behind, and so I'll have my second place and my German title.
There you go. Love that.
Which is a lot how it is in Hawaii, is it not? I mean, everybody obviously wants to win that race, but in Germany, if you're the top German in Hawaii, that's almost like a win.
Yeah, almost. If you win the race, then you're really a big, big, big player. But if you are the best German, of course, that's good. For me, it's like, you can't predict that you can win Hawaii. Maybe, Peter Reed or Luc van Lierde, they could say before the race, hey, I'm top 3 in any case, and I'm so strong. But for me, it's more like, I want to be top 10. This is the goal.
But actually, that's one of the things we've chatted about a bunch before.
Yeah.
Is that sometimes we feel like a Lothar Leder or even Jürgen. It was more like, hey, I want to be first German in Hawaii. I don't really care that much about winning the race. Let other guys worry about that, but I want to be first German. For you, is it more important to win something like Roth or Frankfurt, or to win Hawaii?
No, Hawaii, of course.
Hawaii
is the thing. I mean, it might be more important for the spectators, for the German spectators, if I win Frankfurt or Roth. But for me personally, Hawaii is the thing. Hawaii is the competition, and everything else comes next.
Yeah, you know what? Along those lines, when you talk about your strategy, and it's I think for both Babbitt and myself and a lot of people who watch this sport, it's refreshing to see somebody who's not afraid to just take it from the gun and go as hard as possible, come what may. But at the same time, if you watch the Hawaiian Ironman over the years, you see that I would say 80% of the time at least, that race is won by strategizing, by simply sitting back a little bit on the bike so that you have the legs to run. Is that something you feel like you'll adopt eventually, and especially this year with people like Simon Lessing in the field? Is that something people are going to be able to do?
No, I don't want to sit back, and I don't want to change. I like the way I race, and I will stick to that. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. But in the first place, I'm doing Ironman and triathlon because I love it and because I have fun with that, and not because I want to win in every case. I know that, for Americans, they always say, second is first loser, and you don't win silver, you lose gold. But for me, it's really the most important thing is the fun in it, and not the win.
And so the fun is hurting people.
That's
and
right.
Going off the front and making people think about you and making people chase. I mean, to me, it seems like with the way you swim and the way Simon Lessing swims, that there's a good chance that you guys are going to come out of the water potentially with a few-minute gap on Tim DeBoom and Peter Reed and some of those guys. Do you think about it ahead of time, thinking, okay, who else is going to swim around me? And is there a chance that two of us can go off the front together and potentially build a 3, 4, 5 minute lead on those guys by the end of the bike ride?
I don't think too much about that because you'll never know who is fast in the water this year or who is not. And even so, if he is fast, then is he waiting for the others? Is somebody really able to or wants to race hard on the bike from the beginning? Well, I don't care about that too much. I'll try my best to be as fast as possible from the very beginning, and I do not think too much about the others or what the others do, because, after 5 hours of racing, then you are on your own, and it's your own pain and everything.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't think too much about the others.
Faris, how do you think this year's race, how do you think the way the start is going to happen with the pros starting 15 minutes ahead, how do you think that is going to play out, especially when you consider how it went last year with the way the drafting rule was and how they're going back to passing on the left only and a 10-meter stay to the right as opposed to the stagger rule? How do you think this is going to change the dynamics of the race at the front?
I'm happy that we changed that the pros are able to start 15 minutes in advance. I mean, it doesn't make such a big difference for people like me who are swimming fast, but especially for the women, it's an advantage to have their own race.
Right.
As far as this is possible, of course. And the stagger rule was horrible. I mean, this is. I experienced it when the group overtook me after 130 kilometers approximately, and it was much easier when I was at the back of the group. And this is not the sense of it. I mean, it's much better if we have the old rule that we have now this year again, with that you are only able to pass on the left and that you have the 10 meters, and most important that you are not able to ride side by side. So I appreciate that a lot.
You know, it's interesting because I think we had Peter Reed on a few weeks ago, and he was saying, we were talking about Rutger Becky and some other guys who did really, really well last year. He said, hey, this year with the way the rule is, there's probably a few of those guys who probably won't be with us. And actually, Chris McCormick said if they didn't have the stagger rule last year, he was not in great bike shape, he would have been blown off the back early on, that rule really kept that group together. Do you think it'll be a smaller group heading up towards Hawi this year because of the new rule, or going back to the old rule?
I hope that the group will be smaller. And, I'm sorry for people who are not that strong on the bike, but it's not about it's not only about running, because if you are only good at running, then go run. But this is triathlon, and you should be a complete athlete who is able to swim, who is able to ride the bike, and who is able to run. All the three sports you should be good at, because otherwise you could be a runner or a cyclist or whatever.
Or a duathlete.
Or a duathlete.
Or you could go to the Olympics.
Right. Yeah, you could go to the Olympics where cycling usually doesn't play that big a role.
Yeah,
hey, Faris, how hard has it been to get running down? It seems like you came from more of a swimming and you loved cycling as your background, and it seems like you had difficulty early in your career with your running. How long has it taken, and how hard has it been to get your running to come around?
My running was not that bad, even in the beginning, but the problem was my biking was not that strong. So when I biked really hard, I was so tired and exhausted that I couldn't run anymore.
Yeah.
I feel your pain.
That's what happens when you go out and lead off the front like that.
Yeah, but
that was my problem, my problem.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because Luke has talked about that. Luke Van Leert has talked about that. He says, you go a little bit too hard on the bike and you lose a minute a mile in the run. And that balance between how hard you go on the bike, so you're still able to have legs for the run.
Running, yeah.
But it seems the way Faris races, it's like, hey, I'm going to go hard all the time on the bike, and eventually
I'm going to
run.
Well, 2:45 in road.
2:45 in road is a heck of a good run, and 7th place in Kona last year.
Yeah.
Because you look at a lot of our guys, Tim DeBoom, Peter Reed, our guys are over 30 years old.
Yeah, well, you know what, and I think in benefit of Faris is the fact that he is 26.
Right.
I mean, Faris, you've got to feel like you're going to do nothing but improve for the next anywhere from 4 to 7 years. I mean, if you look at the history of guys at this distance.
Yeah, I hope to improve and hope to get better, and yeah.
Do you specifically now focus on doing 1 or 2 races a year? Because when you look at the history of this event and you look at the guys who have fallen by the wayside after a relatively short period of time, is there a sense of, you know what, I only have so many Ironman races in me? Do I need to maybe keep it to 1 or 2 a year? Or are you feel like, you know what, I'm just getting stronger and stronger. I'm just going to do as many as I feel like I can?
I think you have to have a balance. I mean, I don't think that you can race 4 or 5 Ironmans per year and be good at that. Or, I mean, maybe you can do that in 1 year, but the next year is worse. And no, I think you can race a lot, but then you race short distance races or middle distance races, half Ironman. But maybe you can do 3 Ironmans per year. And for me, I say, well, 2 or 3 Ironmans per year is fine, and I do a lot of other races. I do short course racing as well. And, so I think you have to keep the balance.
And so you do some Olympic distance type of racing just to work on your turnover and work on your speed, and you use those races primarily to get ready for Kona or get ready for Ironman.
Yeah, well, and in Germany, I'm racing we have a Bundesliga, like in soccer almost, where you have up to 6 competitions per year, and it's a team competition, and so it's a lot of fun, you know, when you're with the guys of your team and you hang out one weekend, and so it's also fun, and that's why I do it.
Faris, do you drink beer?
Yes, of course.
Okay, just checking.
He's German. Huddle, come on.
Well, you never know. Some of these athletes get a little bit uptight, and I like this guy.
Oh, Faris is going to do great. Faris, you are our new favorite guy.
Yeah, we want very refreshing to hear someone.
We like guys going off the front. We've been dealing for years. Everybody's like, well, I'll just see what the race plays out, and I'll sit in with the group and try to run away from everybody.
And I'll keep an eye on this guy or that guy.
Yeah, and it's funny, like Peter Reed was saying the other day, the times don't get any faster in Kona, and the reason they don't get any faster is everybody's playing chess out there. They're sort of looking and waiting for the other guy to make a move, and the only way someone's going to go under Luke's time or do what Mark and Dave did back in the late 80s is they got to go for it from the front, don't you think?
Yes, I think so, and I hope with the old rule on the bike and with some guys who only can win the race on the bike, like, for example, Norman Stadler, I don't think that he can really win it, but if they want to have a good place in the end, they have to ride hard. And so those guys, they will make the race more interesting, of course. And, I hope this also helps the others maybe, to stop that chess playing on the bike.
Faris, it doesn't seem like you really think too much about anybody. You just do your own race. But do you think at all about someone like Simon Lessing? Has this guy, do you think he's a person that everybody's thinking about?
Yeah. I mean, what he did in Lake Placid was simply impressive. And because everybody was like, let's see if he can stand an Ironman, or, I mean, we know that he's good. And he proved that he's Sir Simon, and I can't say any more. He's great, and I think we can expect something from him.
Now, Faris, can you win Kona this year?
I don't think so. I don't think that I can win it this year. But I have a few other years, and maybe next year.
So with the goal for you then...
I got a question, Faris. Yeah. Along those lines, how long do you think, based on the rules last year and based on the rules this year, how long do you think you can lead this race if everything's the same? You say they caught you 130K last year. If the rules are like they were going to be this year, how long do you think you can stay in front?
Well, I don't know, because that depends on whether, for example, somebody who is also swimming fast, like Simon Lessing,
right,
or Tim de Boom, if they say, hey, I don't want to play chess on the bike, I want to take it serious and start from the very beginning, then maybe I do not lead at all. And and of course it depends on how I myself am in shape on race day. So, but if I'm in good shape and if everything works out, then maybe I can lead for, up until kilometer 130, 120, about that. Then I think somebody will come, either Norman Stadler or somebody else.
You know what, Faris? Huddle and I think you can win this race.
You know what, Faris? We're really looking forward to watching you this year. This is going to be a lot of fun.
It really is. Hey, Faris, thanks so much for taking so much time with us. Welcome again to San Diego.
Yeah, and stay healthy. We want to see you on the line.
Don't do a Jurgen and fall off your bike. Okay, we heard Jurgen took a little tumble yesterday. Stay away from those groups. Stay away from those cycling groups. Just ride on your own and be safe out there. These guys ride with these knuckleheads, and everybody gets their ego in the way, and people end up falling down. We don't want you falling down. Hey, Faris, thanks so much for taking time, and good luck. Well, first of all, congratulations on going sub 8 hours, and we're looking forward to seeing you on October 16th, putting the hurt to a lot of those guys.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Faris
al-Sultan again.
Thank you so much for listening to this edition of Babbittville Classic Rewind. And don't forget to check out our huge library of interviews with the most decorated triathletes in history on Breakfast with Bob.
Ask me what I want to be, and I will say I will be